So, Hare Krishna Mataji, can you please start with the reading of 41st shloka Mataji?
Hare Krishna, yes, Mataji, sure.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Shloka 41.
1 second,
Yeah.
Mataji. Yeah, please, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Shloka 41. Yoga Sanyasta Karmanam Jnana Sanchinna Samshayam Nibat Nandi Atmavandam na karmani nibatnandi dhananjaya.
Hare Krishna, wonderful Mataji. Please read the translation also, Mataji.
One who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his actions, and whose doubts have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in his self, in the self. Thus, he is not bound by the reactions of work, O conqueror of riches.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. So I've made easy notes so that it will be easy for you. So I'll just yeah, here. See, so what are they telling in the shloka? See, when we do our duties for Krishna and we do not expect the results for ourselves, so we become free from fear and stress. That means when we do anything for our sense gratification, Mataji, it is like there will be a good or a bad reaction for that. But when we do anything for Krishna, it becomes a karma. There is no karma. By following the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, all our doubts go away. We understand our real identity. Okay? So, what is our real identity? We are eternal servants of Krishna. So, karma cannot bind us anymore. So, such a person, he becomes peaceful and spiritually happy because he knows Krishna is always guiding and protecting him. So, one small example is just like if a child is holding the father's hand, wherever he goes, whether he's in a busy street or wherever, he feels protected and he has no fear because he's holding the father's hand. Okay, and he trusts his father completely. In the same way, when we hold Krishna's hand with the same faith, we become fearless and safe from the reactions of our actions. So if we have firm faith that Krishna will protect us, then there will be no reactions. Right, we are not acting for our sense gratification, we are acting for Krishna. So we become fearless and there'll be no reactions. Okay, so let's go to the 42nd shloka, Mataji. So that's why they're saying one who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his action, and whose doubts have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge. So the doubts have been destroyed by this knowledge, this true knowledge. What is this true knowledge? It is the spiritual knowledge, not some mundane knowledge. It is transcendental knowledge. Okay, when you get that knowledge, you know that you whatever you're doing, it is for Krishna, not for your sense gratification. So you just do your 100%, you do your duty 100%, and you leave the results to Krishna. Okay, that's why you're not bound by the reactions of work. Okay, so 42, Mataji, can you please read?
Hare Krishna, yes, Mataji, I'll continue. Hare Krishna, Shloka 52. Tasmat ajnana sambhutam hridastham Yeah.
This is Hrit Mataji, not Hrita. It is Hrit. Hrit Stam.
Okay. Hridastam.
Hrit Mataji. Hrit.
Hridastam.
Yes, Mataji, yes.
Sam. Jnanasina atmanam.
Atmanaha.
Atmanaha.
I think you are facing a problem with the color background, I think, Mataji, right?
It is not going so smoothly.
No. Yeah, I think because earlier when you were reciting shlokas, it is white background and black text, no Mataji, you were able to see, I think. Now because of green background, you're not able to see. That's what is my feeling. I don't know about you. What is this thing, Mataji? Is it like difficult for you to read?
No, actually, today I'm sitting in different room. Maybe the reason lighting, because for the network I came to the other room. Maybe the reason lighting issue may be there. Okay, Mataji, I'll manage. Okay, shall I
You can
repeat?
in your laptop you can increase the light setting, Mataji. Like you can put more light so that it is easily visible for you. You know that Mataji option?
Okay, no, I will do one thing. I'll shift to my mobile again. That will be the reason. That will be easier, Mataji. I think so. 1 minute, just a minute. I'll switch to that.
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, you're back, Mataji?
Sorry.
No problem. It will be really late for you only, Mataji. For me, no problem at all. That's what I was wondering. Because again, you have to prepare for your 8 o'clock class or something, you said, no, Mataji?
Yes, it is
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Okay, now it is clear. Now I have came to the other room.
Yeah, please, Mataji. Now you can read, Mataji, then.
Okay, shall I read?
Yes, Mataji, please. 40 seconds.
1 minute. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Can you hear my sound?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, perfect.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Shloka 42. Tas Tasmadajnana Kritsvam Jnana Jnanasin Atmanah Chitvainam Samshayam Yogam Adishtotishta Bharata.
Hari Bol. Wonderful, wonderful, Mataji. Please read translation also.
Okay, okay, Mataji, Hare Krishna. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So, what is
Thank
Krishna
you.
telling Arjuna finally in the end of 4th chapter? He's telling, see, whatever doubts you have, now you've got this. See, all this while you Arjuna was Krishna is telling you are in ignorance. You were in ignorance, but now you got this true transcendental spiritual knowledge you got. So whatever doubts are there in your mind, now you cut off with this what? With what? With the weapon of knowledge. With the knowledge. See, when knowledge comes, there is no ignorance, right? So now he's got what is that true knowledge? So he got that knowledge. So with that knowledge, you now understood what is true, what is right, what is wrong. So now that's why you stand and fight. He's saying that's why you got the true knowledge. You know what is the real knowledge. So now you stand and fight. Okay, so that's what now let's see. I prepared notes. Okay, so Krishna says that we must cut our doubts using the weapon of spiritual knowledge. So ignorance creates confusion and fear. See, when we are in ignorance, we don't know what we are doing, but and what we do, we think that is right. Okay, because we don't know what is the correct thing. Correct knowledge we don't know, but in ignorance we think whatever we are doing is right. Okay, so when we are in ignorance, it creates confusion and fear. But knowledge from the Bhagavad Gita gives us strength and clarity. So this chapter teaches us Sanatana Yoga. What is that? Our eternal duty to serve Krishna. So actually, there are many types of sacrifice we saw in the in this chapter. That is dedicated to sacrifice, like donating, studying, self-control, family duties, penance, following Vedas, Varnashrama, but they become perfect only when done for spiritual realization and devotion to Krishna. See, all these have values. See, you may do annadana, okay, but without the interference of Krishna, it becomes karma kanda. But when you do it for Krishna, it becomes Krishnaized, it becomes Krishna conscious, it becomes akarma. Okay, so it's just a matter of that consciousness that is important. That's why Prabhupada says it is Krishna consciousness. ISKCON is what? International Society for, he didn't say Krishna, it is Krishna consciousness. Okay, it is that difference is in the consciousness. Okay, that's the thing. So we have to, when it is done for spiritual realization and devotion to Krishna. So real understanding begins when we know who am I. That is the true knowledge. Who am I? I am what? Krishna's eternal servant. And who is Krishna? Krishna is the eternal, blissful, all-knowing Supreme Lord. If someone rejects Krishna or doubts the Gita, they lose the chance for spiritual progress. But by accepting guidance from a bona fide spiritual master, not some fake guru or anybody, but guidance from a bona fide who is in that Guru Parampara. So, bona fide spiritual master in disciplic succession, we can understand Krishna's teachings correctly and we can become free from all ignorance. Okay, so when the knowledge enters, there is no darkness, there is no ignorance. So, Krishna tells Arjuna and all of us what? Remove doubts, take shelter of knowledge. So, Krishna is saying, don't be in ignorance. Whatever doubts you have, remove them. How? By the take the shelter of knowledge. Okay, so that's why Krishna is saying, be strong and do your duty for me. Okay, so whenever doubts come, what should we do? We should read the Bhagavad Gita, chant Krishna's holy name, and follow great teachers. Okay, then knowledge will protect us. So this 4th chapter, it gives the importance of real knowledge, true knowledge, not just any knowledge. True knowledge is transcendental knowledge. It it takes us from this, it liberates us from this material world, which is full of miseries and difficulties. So that true knowledge Krishna gives here. After giving the entire knowledge, now that's why he's saying, see, Arjuna, now all your doubts are clarified. So now you are out of ignorance. You've got the true spiritual knowledge. So now get up and fight. Okay, you told so many reasons for not fighting. But I'm telling you, I've told you the answers for all of those. I've cleared all your doubts. Now you are not ignorant. Now you have that transcendental knowledge. So now you get up and fight. Okay, so now let's see the chapter 5. What we'll start with chapter 5 also today. Okay, so this is over. We'll close this. Before we start chapter 5, let's take the blessings of the beautiful deities of Sri Sri Radha Govind Ji. Sri Sri Radha Govind Ji ki jai. Yeah, this is 5. So can you please read the shloka, Mataji? 5.1, you're able to see the screen, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, please, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Arjuna uvacha sannyasam karmanam Krishna punaryogam cha shamsasi yashreya etayor ekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam.
Hare Krishna. Wonderfully recited, Mataji. Thank you so much. So I think the translation is not given here. Let me see. That one. So translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So Arjuna said, "O Krishna, first of all, you ask me to renounce work, and then again you recommend work with devotion. Now, will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial?" Okay, so we've seen that Arjuna is again confused. We saw at the end of in the starting of third chapter also, Arjuna, he was confused. Okay, he was confused between Gnana and Buddhi Yoga. Okay, so here see Gnana and Buddhi Yoga in chapter 2. Okay, so there Krishna explains about Gnana, that because Arjuna is showing compassion for the bodies, but Krishna is saying, don't worry about the bodies. We are not the body, we are the soul. So he explains that concept, that Sankhya over there. Okay, so next he tells about Buddhi Yoga. In the same second chapter, Krishna tells about Buddhi Yoga. Okay, so Buddhi Yoga, in other words, is nothing but Nishkama Karma Yoga. So work, you have to do work, but without any attachment to the fruit of the work, the result of the, you should not be attached to the results. Okay, so he tells about Gnana and Buddhi Yoga. And later, next, in the third chapter also, he tells, please don't get confused. I'm just telling individually, Mataji, first the points, and then we'll combine. Actually, at the end of second chapter, he gets confused, Arjuna here. You are now, you are saying, you are giving me Gnana and Buddhi Yoga. So what should I take? But what, Arjuna, is thinking Buddhi Yoga means, Buddhi means what? Intelligence, knowledge. So knowledge means what? He's thinking we have to go to the forest, renounce, not do our responsibilities and duties. So that is what he's thinking. But what actually Buddhi Yoga means? Buddhi Yoga means Nishkama Karma Yoga. You have to work, right? For Krishna, you have to work, but without any expectation to the results. So, because in second chapter, if you see, Krishna has told about so many topics. So, Krishna thinks that Arjuna has got confused. So that's why I will tell more clearly to Arjuna, because he got confused. And then in the third chapter, he explains about Nishkama Karma Yoga in detail. What is that? He says, see, in 30.17, he says, but for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self realization, and who is satisfied in the self only, fully satiated, for him there is no duty. So, here in the third chapter, Krishna is saying, for a Krishna conscious person, there is no duty. Like earlier we said, right, per the Vedas, it is mentioned for each Varna and Ashrama, we have to do our specific duties and responsibilities. Okay, then only slowly we will get purified. Okay, so it is mentioned, that is mentioned in the Vedas. But here they are saying, in third chapter, Krishna is saying, a pure devotee, for him there is no duty. Why? Actually, what Krishna means, no duty in the sense, because he's totally Krishna conscious, his only activity is to serve Krishna. So he does not have to do any other responsibilities, like duties and responsibilities like the householders, like each Varna and Ashrama. Because he's totally immersed in Krishna consciousness. It's like a Guru Maharaj and all those, Srila Prabhupada, like that. They're totally into serving Krishna, pleasing Krishna. So for such people, there is no duty. So you don't have to work. Okay, the same thing is continued in Shloka 18 also. A self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties. See, he does not, and there's no need to perform prescribed duties, nor has he any reason not to perform such work, nor has he any need to depend on any other living being. And he does not, there is no reason for him to work, because he's doing Krishna conscious work now. Okay, nor does he depend on any other living being. He does not depend on any other living entity for his living, because he's depending on Krishna. He has that faith that Krishna will protect him. Okay, so now I'm just trying to tell you why in fifth chapter Krishna is getting Arjuna is getting confused, because Krishna says in the third chapter, don't no, there is no need to work, there is no duty. Okay, so this point we have to remember. So one confusion is, now we are saying don't work, there is no duty. The next, what? In the fourth chapter, we saw what? Transcendental knowledge. See, O chastiser of the enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possessions. Okay, after all, O son of Pritha, all sacrifices of work culminate in transcendental knowledge. So, what we have come to the conclusion here about transcendental knowledge. So, whatever sacrifice that we are doing, finally everything comes into transcendental knowledge. Okay, whatever we are doing, sacrifices, be it donating, charity, or whatever, finally the result of that is transcendental knowledge. You will be getting transcendental knowledge. Okay, what will happen with that transcendental knowledge? In the last sloka we just saw, 42. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed with this knowledge, so that ignorance should be cut off with the weapon of knowledge. So once all your doubts are cleared, now what is Krishna saying, Arjuna? To stand and fight. Fight means what? Work. Do some work. So in third chapter, Krishna told Arjuna, there is no need to work. Right? There is no duty. Now, in the fourth chapter, with this knowledge, Krishna is saying, you have all your doubts are cleared with this transcendental knowledge. Now you are out of ignorance. Now you work. Work means what for Arjuna here? Fight, stand up and fight. So Arjuna is again confused. That's why in the third chapter, Krishna, you're saying, I mean, like, don't work. You don't have to work. Okay, you don't have to do duty. Again, now in fourth chapter, you're saying, stand and fight. Stand and fight means do work. So now Arjuna is confused. Once you are saying fight, once you are saying no duty. So he is confused. Okay, so he's asking which is better. Sometimes you say there is no duty, no, it's not. There is no work required. You don't have to do. Now in fourth chapter, you are saying now all your doubts are gone because of the knowledge, transcendental knowledge. So you get up and fight now. You know everything. So now you fight. Fighting means what? Doing some work. That's the duty of a kshatriya, right? Now you are asking me to do duty. Okay, so what? You're confusing me, Krishna. So tell me which is better, he is asking. So let's see what Krishna says. Okay, all this is the same thing. Okay. See, it is Krishna's plan to keep Arjuna confused. Why Krishna does so? For our benefit. So to stress that work and renunciation are not opposed to each other. Means doing work and renunciation are not opposites. For us, it may appear opposite. See, when we say renunciation, we think that leave everything and go back to the forest and meditate, doing no work. Okay, so working means what? We are doing some work. So it looks like both are opposites, but Krishna is trying to say that both are same. They are not different. See, rather in the next line, Krishna is saying one must learn to work in a renounced spirit. He is a true renunciant. What is a true renunciant? He will tell. Krishna will tell. See, what is Arjuna thinking? Jnana implies renunciation of work. Okay, so Arjuna is thinking Jnana means what? Now he got transcendental knowledge. So what is he should do when he got that knowledge? He should work for Krishna so that there'll be no reaction. But here, what is Arjuna thinking? Jnana means it is renunciation of work. Jnana means he's thinking that go to the forest, leave all your responsibilities, duties, go to the forest, and Jnana means knowledge. You get knowledge from the Vedas and everything, and you learn, you gain Jnana. So just meditate. That's all. So he's basically thinking you don't have to do work. That is what his jnana, his implication is. So obviously no work. And work means what? You have to do some work. So like it's like light and darkness, contradicting, right? Okay, once Krishna is saying renounce, no work. One he's saying work. So it is like quite opposite for him. It is contradictory. So Krishna emphasizes what? So what does Krishna mean? Means that one in knowledge should also work. So that is what Nishkama Karma Yoga is, right? We now have the true transcendental knowledge. We are also working. See, it's not that we stopped our duties. We are cooking. Daily we are taking care of our family. Everything we are doing. But it's just that matter of consciousness. That's what we've told earlier also. It looks like for an outsider, it looks like as if we are doing only material activities. But it's the consciousness. You should think that, oh, I'm doing this for Krishna. I'm cooking for Krishna. So outsider may think we are just normally cooking, like it looks like cooking only. But we are cooking for Krishna. With that consciousness, we are cooking. It should be clean. The kitchen should be clean. The items that we are using should be clean. Everything so purified. And after cooking also, we should offer it as bhoga. Okay, so like that. So it's just a matter of consciousness. Okay, so that's what Krishna will say. We'll try to understand. See, Arjuna's confusion. See, he's saying, you say work for sense activity must be given up. Means what Krishna was telling? See, if you do sense gratification, you will be bound in karma. Because if you do for your sense gratification, the result, there will be a result, good or bad karma. So good or bad karma, to enjoy you have to come back. Okay, so so what Arjuna is saying, fighting for a kingdom, even with knowledge of the soul, seems like activity of the senses to me. Okay, therefore it should be given up. So that is one doubt he had. We'll see. If one works with devotion, then how is work stopped? Okay, so if you are working with devotion, for Arjuna, what work means? Work only. We are working means, obviously, even though I know I'm soul, I'm just working, right? If one works with devotion, bhakti, how is work stopped? Even though we have bhakti, we are still working, right? So, but his intention is work means we are attached to the results. So he's getting confused. The concept is missing. He is missing this thing that the consciousness is very important. Okay, so let's see what is that. I've made the clear notes. It'll be easy to understand over there. Okay. Okay. See, Arjuna is confused now and asks Krishna a sincere question. What is that question he asks? See, you sometimes tell me to give up work, and sometimes you tell me to work with devotion. Which is better? So Arjuna thinks that renunciation, for him, what Arjuna is thinking, renunciation means stopping all actions. And for him, working means what? Being attached to the results. Okay, he's basically getting confused. But what is Krishna actually telling? You have to be detached to the results. That is Nishkama Karma Yoga, right? That point he's missing. Okay, so he cannot understand how these two can go together. So renouncing means no work. Working means attached. You are attached. You will have some reaction. So you have to work and no work. So he's not understanding how both can go together. So now Krishna will explain. See, Krishna has explained in earlier chapters that we are the soul, different from the body. We must act with knowledge. All work should lead to spiritual understanding. Devotional service frees us from reactions. See, only the thing is consciousness. If we are doing it for Krishna, there is no karma. If we are doing it for our sense gratification, there is karma. Okay, but what is Arjuna thinking? If I work, how can that be renunciation? But how is Krishna telling Arjuna to work? Be Krishna conscious and then work, then there'll be no karma. But Arjuna is getting, that's why he's getting confused. He's thinking, if I work, how will that be renunciation? Okay, so actually, Krishna wants Arjuna to understand what? See, this is what Krishna wants Arjuna to understand because he's confused now. See, work done with knowledge and devotion creates no karma. That is what he wants Arjuna to know. That is real renunciation. For him, renunciation means Arjuna is thinking no work. But what is true renunciation? True renunciation means working with the knowledge and devotion. Devotion means for Krishna you are working. Okay, that creates no karma. So that is real renunciation. So renunciation, but we should not take it literally, the dictionary meaning that we leave everything, go to the forest and meditate. Okay, but literally what Krishna is trying to make Arjuna understand is real renunciation means what? You work, but with the knowledge and devotion. Work for Krishna. When you work for Krishna, any work you do for Krishna has no karma. Okay, so that's it. So that's what do we understand? So don't stop your duties. Just you have to change your consciousness. So do everything for Krishna without attachment to the result. Okay, so that is what Krishna is saying in the first shloka. So Arjuna is asking which is better of the two. Okay, so that's why he is giving all this. The only thing is our consciousness has to change. Okay, so now let's see the second shloka. So that's why you see Arjuna is asking this question: work with devotion or renunciation? For him, renunciation means no work. Work with devotion means working. You're getting attached. Then there is karma, obviously. So work and no work, he's confused. Okay, so that's why he's asking which is better. You're able to understand, Mataji?
Yeah, yes, Mataji, yes, clear. It's clear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fine. Thank you, Mataji. So can you please read the second shloka, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Shloka 2. Sannyasah karma yogascha niha shreyasa karav ubhau.
Karavubhau.
Karav ubhau.
You have to combine, Mataji. Or you have to split Karavubhau.
Ubhau. Karav ubhau. Will do.
Yes, but
Hare Krishna. Shloka 2. Sannyasah karma yogascha niha shreyasa karaubhau yadostu karma
Dayos, Mataji,
tayos
Dayos.
tayostu karma sannyasaat karma yogo vishishyate. Hare Krishna.
Perfect. Please read the translation also, Mataji.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna. The personality of Godhead replied, the renunciation of work in devotion are both good for liberation. But of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah. So here, Krishna is telling Arjuna, see, renunciation of work and work in devotion both are good for liberation. But since Arjuna was asking which is better, Krishna is telling work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work. Instead of leaving all our work, and it's better to work and at the same time do bhakti, be Krishna conscious. Okay, that is better, he's saying. Why? See, these are the differences: renunciation and work in devotion. In renunciation, needs prior purification by prescribed duties. See, when your renunciation means before you go to the forest and you practice all that, your senses and your mind, they need purification. Okay, how is that purification? By following what is given in the varnas and ashramas. Sorry, Mataji, I can hear your voice. Is it like you want to say anything?
No, Mataji, no, it is muted.
No, I don't know. I was hearing some gaps, voice is coming, so I thought maybe you want to say something. Okay, Mataji. Okay, so so we have to they have to first purify their senses. How can they purify? We saw in the Vedas, right? By for each varna and ashrama, they are a set of roles and responsibilities, duties mentioned. So they have to do those duties, and slowly they get purified. Okay, and then they come to Krishna consciousness. I mean, that is later part, but here they are saying their senses and their mind needs to get purified. So that is the process. First they have to get purified, but when you come to Krishna consciousness, the process itself is purifying. Why? Because we are working for Krishna, we are engaging all our senses in Krishna, mind and senses in Krishna. So we don't have to separately take the effort of purifying our senses through like how the Mayavadi sannyasis do. So we can just directly by doing Krishna consciousness means we are engaging our senses and mind in the service of Krishna. So the process itself will purify. Okay. Simply gnana insufficient for liberation. Okay, just if you know that I am soul is not enough, right? See, action is a must. So in devotion, what work in devotion means what? Action. We work, we do devotional service. Devotional service means we do some seva. We must act in the status of soul. But here in renunciation, what do? They just sit, they read books and they meditate, that's all. There is no action, there is no work. Okay, so work in devotion means you are doing devotional service. Okay, you must act on the status of the soul. Okay, and there is risk of fall down in renunciation. Why? Because once you you fall down, because you don't get ananda after some time, because you feel it is tiresome. See, you read so many books, Vedas, Upanishads, you read so much, it is so tiring. You try all kinds of things now. You read this, and finally they come to Srimad Bhagavatam also. They get they find it so tiring. So many books they read, and finally they get bored and they fall down, and that's why they come to do all these building hospitals, charitable this thing they do, hospital building hospitals, schools, they come to do all that. Okay, so there is risk of fall down. Now here success is guaranteed. Why? After you practice Krishna consciousness, you are sure to go back to Godhead. And this is incomplete renunciation. This is complete renunciation. So why? Because we use everything for Krishna. Okay, and in this find the root Vishnu. So here the Mayavadis, they know that who is the root, from where, what, how is everything happening in this material world. They know, they come to know that it is because of Vishnu. They know, they just find the root, that's all. Here in work in devotion, they water the root. Okay, water the root means what? They do seva. Here they just find out it is Vishnu. They know, that's all. They don't do any action, they don't do any seva. They water the root here. Okay, and for these Mayavadi sannyasis, or renunciation means what? Process is to detach from matter. So these people, they get so scared of matter, that's why they renounce, they leave everything from matter. Because if they think that if you are attached to matter, there will be a reaction, there will be good or bad karma. Or then if there is good or bad karma, then we won't be able to do our spiritual practice well. So that's why they get scared, and that's why they want to uh, uh, detach from matter. That's why they run away from, they leave all their responsibilities, duties, and they leave this material, whatever attachments that they have, and they come to the forest and they start reading the books. Okay, so they get scared. That's why they detach from matter. Here, what do? We become attached to Krishna. Work in devotion means what? We get attached to Krishna. So we use all the material, we don't get detached from matter. In fact, we know that all this matter belongs to, everything that is there in this material world belongs to Krishna, and we use everything in Krishna's service. Okay, so there is no happiness. Earlier I told you, right? There is no happiness. They are just constantly, they are reading, tiring. They, by their own, they have to understand. They're speculating. They find no happiness. But when we do bhakti, devotional service, it brings us so much happiness. Even when kirtan is there, we dance, prasadam, so good, so happy we feel when we hear about the pastimes of the Lord. It is so nice. So it's full of happiness. And here, senses are restricted, cannot relish transcendental devotional service. They, here, the Mayavadi sannyasi, by force, they restrict the senses. Okay, not by engaging the senses in something. They forcefully, they restrict the senses. They think that, no, I should not look at that, I should not think this, I should not smell this, I should not eat this. Everything, all the sense organs, they by force they suppress. Okay, but whereas here they don't have to suppress artificially. See, suppression does not last for long. Sometimes at one point of time it will burst out. How long can you act? How long can you force your senses? You can't do that, right? Very difficult. Okay, but what do we do in devotional service? Senses are never restricted. We use the same senses, our eyes, nose, our hands, legs, everything, ears. We use everything in the service of Krishna. So, how we do different devotional activities like making garlands or some things, cooking for the Lord, prasadam distribution, go seva, something or the other we'll be doing, some devotional activity. All the senses and mind are engaged. Okay, so take many births. So the people who practice renunciation, they take many births until they understand that Krishna consciousness is the final process. Okay, so until they understand that, they take many births. But for us who do devotional service, they quickly achieve Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so these people, they study Sankhya philosophy, the devotional service, they study Srimad Bhagavatam, okay, and they study renunciation, they study Shariraka Bhashya on Vedanta Sutra by Shankaracharya. So we said, right, these people, they go into the forest and they read all these books, the Vedas and the Upanishads and all such books. And devotees, what do they study? They study Srimad Bhagavatam, natural commentary on Vedanta Sutra. So may fall down to philanthropic, altruistic activities. Okay, so these people we said, right, finally they fall down because after reading so many books, so much book, they get bored and they get tired. Okay, they get frustrated. Okay, and then that's why they fall down. Actually, they take up all activities. Finally they get bored and they take to even try, they read the Srimad Bhagavatam also. Okay, that also they are not able to understand the concept because they think that in Bhagavatam they say what service to God, you have to do seva to the Lord. For them that concept that doesn't stick. So they find all, they read everything, it becomes tired. And then, and they are not able to find any happiness. That's why they fall down. Again, what do? They come back to do all these philanthropic and altruistic, like building hospitals, schools, and they do all these social activities. That's why. But here in devotional service, they have multiple engagements in devotional service. We are so busy. Actually, devotees, in fact, more than the materialistic persons, also, they're very busy. 24 hours is not enough for them, actually. They're busy in some or the other seva. Okay, so they have multiple engagements in devotional service according to the Pancharatrika regulations. Okay, so let's go to the third shloka. Hare Krishna Mataji, can you please read the third shloka, Mataji?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji,
Stay
please.
1 minute, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Sloka 3. Nyeyah sa nitya sannyasi yo na dveshti na kanchati nirdvando hi
Nirdvandvo.
nirdvandvo hi balabaho sukham
Mahabaho.
mahabaho sukham bandhat cha bandhat pramuchyate.
Perfect,
Shall I
Mataji.
repeat last line, Balaji?
Yeah, please, Mataji.
Nirdvandho hi mahabaho sukham bandhad pramuchyate.
Hari Bol. Yeah. Please read the translation also, Mataji.
Oh, sure. Hare Krishna. One who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person, free from all dualities, easily overcomes material bondage and is completely liberated. O mighty armed Arjuna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you,
So,
Mataji.
yeah. So here they're saying one who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities. It means that he's renouncing. Either he does not hate. Whatever comes, he just takes. Because he knows that Krishna is giving the result, right? So Krishna knows what is good for him or what is bad for him. So he is prepared. So he neither hates nor desires. He is, so such a kind of person is renounced. So such a person, he is free from all dualities. He is not bothered whether he gets profit, loss, nothing. He is not influenced by the dualities. So he takes them however it comes. He takes it as the mercy of Krishna. Okay. So he knows that Krishna is taking care of him, and whatever he gets, he knows it is for his good, right? So easily overcomes material. So that's why, because he thinks he's not expecting anything. He's not doing a business so that he will get profit only with some intention. No, he's just working with the desire to please Krishna. So he's like, okay, whatever. If profit comes, okay. If loss comes, okay. He's like that. So that's why he becomes akarma, because he's working for Krishna. So that point we have to understand. So let's see. I've just made notes, Mataji. We just need the notes. Yeah. A person who does not hate or desire the results of their action is truly renounced. Such a person is free from the dualities of liking and disliking. Therefore, O Arjuna, he easily becomes free from material bondage and attains complete liberation. A person who is fully engaged in Krishna consciousness is automatically a real renunciant. Why? He is a true renunciant. Why? Because he does not desire personal results, because he does not expect anything. He just does 100% of his duty. He does not hate anything that comes by Krishna's will. Okay, he does not hate. I mean, like, oh, Krishna did so bad. I will now leave Krishna. I will go out of Krishna consciousness. Nothing like that. I have done so many years of seva to Krishna, and Krishna is giving me only pains, pains, pains. Always, He gave me loss. My relationship is not bad, is bad. Everything is bad for me. He won't say like that. He will take it as a lesson learned, a lesson to be learned. Why is this happening? Like that, he takes, or it is my bad karma that is coming. So he will be happy. Oh, my bad karma is going away. Okay, so he does not hate anything that comes by Krishna's will. Okay, he thinks, he understands that it's Krishna's plan. So nothing can happen against the will of Krishna. So he acts only out of love and service to Krishna. So such a person has real knowledge. Okay, because he understands what Krishna is the supreme person, and we are what, his his small parts and parcels. Okay, we are equal in quality to Krishna. Okay, we are spirit souls, but not equal in quantity. Because Krishna is Vibhu, we are Anu, we are small. Krishna is Vibhu. Okay, but actually, quality wise, if you see, we and Krishna are same. Quantity wise, if you see, there is variation is there. Okay, so this is called Achintya Beda Tattva. So simultaneously one. See, we are simultaneously one with Krishna in quality and different in quantity. So that we have to understand. Because that pure devotee, he sees everything as Krishna's plan. He has nothing to desire. He does not say, I want this for myself. He never desires. And when something goes away, he does not cry, I have lost, oh my God, now what, like that. Because many people, when we get a loss or when we lose our valuables, they cry, they lament. Okay, so but the pure devotee, he does not lament or desire. He is happy. He knows he moves on per Krishna's plan. Okay, so he acts only for Krishna's pleasure. So therefore, no duality. Okay, for him, no duality, no sad or happy. Okay, it's because he leaves the result to Krishna, loss or profit or whatever, sadness or happiness, no duality. So no material attachment. So whatever duty he's doing, no material attachment. Like he just leaves, he does his duty 100%, leaves the result to Krishna. And that's why there is no bondage, no karma. So liberation even by living in this world. That's why even though he looks like he's working in this world, but he's liberated. Why? Because he's working for Krishna. And when you work for Krishna, there is no karma. So you are liberated in this world itself. Okay? So when we work for Krishna, we are free. When we work for ourselves, we are bound. Okay, that's why the consciousness plays a very, very important role. See, when we do things for our sense gratification, there is a reaction, good or bad karma. But when we work for Krishna, we don't. It becomes a karma. There will be no reaction. Okay, so let's see the fourth shloka. Mataji, Hare Krishna, can you please read the fourth shloka, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Mataji, we have not practiced. We have read up to 3 only.
Oh, okay. We'll stop here only, Mataji, then.
Okay, Mataji. Okay, Mataji.
Please try to come sharp, Mata, because we are actually we are supposed to at least do a class of. I'll just off it and then I'll just tell you, Mataji.